To open talks with Ukraine. So this is like they were talking about the death toll already.
Yes.
Already 137 people have been killed in Ukraine. About 316 soldiers wounded, and the Ukraine president was commending brave men that have come out, because a lot of them, they were not trained before. They didn't have any military training. A lot of them were just regular citizens. There was a ban for boys and men not to leave.
Yes, between the ages of 18 and 16.
Yes, not to leave Ukraine. So he was commending them for their bravery, for coming out to defend their country and all of that.
But they didn't have
already
a choice.
now, in one day, 137 people killed and 316 people wounded, which I know that inside that wound, events that had happened up until now.
Yeah.
So that part of why Russia is acting the way it's acting is almost because of this NATO.
They're afraid.
Yeah, they're afraid
NATO.
because it seems like NATO has taken over already two border countries. This Ukraine will be the third one. So they are feeling like this is a threat to what we had like a gentleman handshake. That analysis was quite big, But you see, this is interesting because even the Russian president was saying, the Ukrainian president was saying that he is the first target. He and his family are first targets of Russia. They are looking out for him. This is actually sad. I just feel like there is no justification for war. It doesn't matter what has happened, because war just makes it worse. So I don't even know how we're going to speak to Russia, because now he has warned. Did you see the stern warning he gave everybody? Say, face your country. Do not come. Do not even do anything, because if you try it,
we're ready. So
the thing that you have not seen in the history of
whatever, to go down.
It will happen to your country.
So it's a day or day.
Day your day. So if you notice, every country just kept mute. They kept mum on it. When they asked our foreign minister, Godfrey Oyema, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every public policy has winners and losers.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and listen to the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Vicky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but
His medal has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of gun,
whatever I've done,
every public policy has winners and losers.
Thanks for staying with us. Digital marketing is important because it connects a business with its customers when they are online, and it's effective in all industries. It connects businesses with ideal customers when they are on Google through the SEO and PPC. I need to find out what these terminologies are on social media. with social media marketing, and through emails with email marketing. Now in 2022, we are destined to see a shift from traditional text-based content towards dynamic, engaging content that offers users an immersive experience such as quizzes and polls, embedded calculators, augmented realities, that's the augmented reality ads. And what are some of the digital marketing trends that you think businesses should look out for 2022? Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. It's only Elsie that is digital marketer here. So you're the only one that will ask the question, Vico.
Why do you think money cannot say anything?
Money.
Why do you think
2020 defined a lot of things for us, you know, because it just changed, it birthed a new world so that they could earn money. So what do you think, you know, in terms of media marketing, digital marketing, do you think you as a business, you've done enough? You know, to harness the opportunities there.
Done enough, no. Trying, yes.
Okay.
So digital media marketing is just about, it's another way of distributing, you know, like different, what would I call it, businesses. It's a form of distribution, media distribution. So as opposed to doing things the regular way we used to know. Traditional way. Let me give you an example. In the past, I used to buy magazines like Ovation, Cosmopolitan, Ebony. Now, how do I read these magazines? I go on the internet and I get them downloaded. So it's just another way, it's another channel of still doing business. But now you are reaching far more people than you would, you know.
You know where I'm setting you? Because me, I asked you this question before. You're a lawyer. Lawyers are still carrying BB files everywhere.
No,
how you guys not?
That has to do with Nigeria. Has to do with Africa. The world is moving on. If we decide to stay put and not move on, and that's our business. For the lawyers, it's a sign of intelligence. So I don't see us dropping our books anytime soon.
Well, your book can become mobile,
but we use
like
media to be seen to be begging for markets, for clients. No, it's a very, very
unethical.
It's
they call it.
Yeah.
So how do you now take advantage of media? You know what? Let me call.
So what they use?
We use different forms of marketing. We
like
write a lot of
opinions,
thought leadership. We write a lot of articles.
When they close deals, they put it out there. Oh, I closed this deal or something.
My baby is very smart.
That's why I came to her first. You're the one that was.
No, I just wanted to show you that I know too.
Yes, you do, my darling. Have like a disparity in terms of who is handling traditional marketing and digital marketing, or at least some cases is that there's no funds to really separate it. So you're doing everything. Your job is now a whole lot, and keeping up with the trend. You said something about emerging social channels. There are different channels coming out every time that if you say, oh, I'm not going to be part of this channel, you're missing an opportunity to grab a market share, and you just have to be there. So it's a whole lot, and digital marketing can be from as little as saying, oh, digital marketing 101, and that's the barest minimum to say, I'm a small business, I'm using Instagram and all that, so without thinking about how to use different marketing channels to gather downloads. You're talking of Transsion, you're talking of Google Ads, you're talking of Facebook Ads. Like, it's a whole lot to keep up with, and I think I just want to say kudos to marketers and digital marketers, because you will likely not sleep. And again, you now have to stay on trends, because you sleep and wake up, something else is new, and you have to keep up. You know, it's interesting as well, but it's very intensive.
Nkendili J. is a seasoned information technology professional with over 15 years of industry experience in Africa's largest emerging economy, with a deep purpose and focus on bridging the digital divide and transforming its target audience, optimize its processes, and increase its bottom line. Futuresoft has served over 170 clients across 20 industries and has trained over 1,500 CEOs and executives in digital and social media marketing. So you see why Elsie said she's the perfect guest. Might I add, she's a damsel. You know, we like when our tech babes are cute, you know. We just love it like that. But thank you so much for joining us. So I am actually getting to that point where it's becoming important for me to just, whether you like it or not, put it out there. But it gets overwhelming. Like Elsie rightly said, the multiple channels that we're having these days, right? How would a small business, if you're thinking, I want to really, really pursue digital marketing to push my business, right? Because I know that so many things are happening. How would you know which of these platforms, what trends would you follow to know which of the platforms are best, you know, for your business as a small business?
Okay, thank you for the question. I think the most important thing really is the fact that every single business is different. So if you're a retail focused business, you use other channels than if you are a professional service business, you know. So the first thing is to really think about what kind of business am I and where is my target audience. So if your target audience is, you know, millennial, Gen Z, then you have to find the channels that those that group of people actually use. But if you are focused on baby boomers, Gen X, then you probably want to use other channels. If you're a law firm, for example, chances are that you would probably use LinkedIn, right? You may use Instagram and Facebook, but you're probably using it for other things, right? So you're not necessarily using it to get clients, but you're using it to create brand awareness. You're using it to showcase your culture, to showcase the people behind your brand, right? Which is also important because you're trying to attract the right type of talent. You're trying to attract people that have the same type of values. You're trying to just also educate, you know, the general consumer. And a lot of the time...
Okay, we'll get to that, but I still want to stay with attention for digital ads as against how much they spend in terms of getting the products in and packaging and branding it for putting out there.
I think it really depends on what is it that you're selling, right? So in marketing, we calculate things like, it's called CAC, which is the customer acquisition cost, right? So that is the cost of actually getting one customer. And the customer acquisition cost really is a metric that is very subjective because your customer acquisition cost can be $10, but your product costs $100, right? So if you're using $10 to get me to spend $100, that sort of makes sense. But if you're using $10 to get me to spend $1 or $2, then you know, it doesn't really make sense for you. So I think it's important that as a business, you really look at what is your service or product valued at, and what would you normally spend, right, in traditional marketing to attract that customer. In digital, the beauty is that, like Elsie said, you can track everything, right? So you can track how much you're spending, you can track the conversions, you can track you know, how many people click, you can track all of those different metrics, and that allows you to then also have a really good overview of the cost. And the beauty with digital as well is that you can change strategies very fast, right? So
if it's not working, you can immediately tell.
Exactly.
The parameters are there.
Yeah, so because you could measure everything, you can say, you know, I'm going to spend $10 and test this out and see what happens. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then you
can only increase your budget.
Exactly.
Awesome. I was going to ask, you know, Mani, you have a question?
No.
Okay, I was going to ask that, you know, what is it costing small businesses or businesses in general if they do not, you know, monitor this kinds of trend for their business, like, and position their business for it? Like, what's it costing us? Because sometimes when you see Elsie hammering it, you know, she gets so upset, you know, because she's seen that this thing is actually viable, but the people did not just look in that direction, like it wasn't important. And now we are seeing that the product, even though the product was good, there was a total failure because they did not even spend that extra to pay attention to the marketing, the digital marketing part of the, you know, promotion of the product, you know, so they end up failing. So maybe you should tell us the cost. Why do we need, you know, digital marketers? Why do we need you guys?
I think it's kind of like sink or swim. So for me, I think
any business that doesn't invest in their digital marketing strategy, and the digital strategy and technology as a whole is not going to survive the next 5 to 10 years. And I think this goes from a very basic business like being a vulcanizer to selling hair, or a business that is into shipping, right? Because there are different uses for digital in each of those businesses, right? A vulcanizer that, for example, has a Google My Business account and can be found on Google Maps has a much better advantage than his peer that is down the road and doesn't have that, right?
You know what? So let's just go on a very short break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back.
Buy the hard copy magazines, and now I have to look for them on the internet. So is there any way the uneducated can benefit from media digital marketing?
I do think so, and I think literacy, I think, is a concept that we sort of put above digital literacy. But I think during COVID, I realized that that's not really the case, right? Because the devices nowadays use voice commands, right? So my son, during COVID, he was 4 years old and he couldn't read or write, but he was searching on YouTube, just says, press the mic, Spider-Man, whatever he wants to. You know, and that's when I realized that you don't need to be literate in order to use technology for your benefit, right? You just need to learn how to use the technology. And I think once you show people what the commercial value is of using the technology, then they would put in the work to actually learn how to use the technology. And also, once they see the benefits, they would then also put in the money to actually buy the devices and buy data and things like that. I think the reason why a lot of people who are not literate are, you know, sort of kept out is because in their head it's like, oh, it's expensive.
I was going to come there because let us go there.
And also, people just respond to that. The platforms that you would say they make up the internet and the web are actually working to also make everyone inclusive. So you see a Google ensuring that there is Yoruba, there's Igbo, there's Hausa. So like she said, you can just use the prompt and say what you want, and then you get results, and also, you know, be part of it.
So let's talk the money. Because
before we talk the money, you are money.
Because see, that's why people see, you don't understand. Look at Ikem Delina, she's safe. Is that true, or can we demystify that for them?
I mean, I think there's a saying that says cheap is expensive, right?
True.
So, you know, you ask what is the cost? If you know that your business isn't going to be alive anymore in 5 years unless you start investing into digital today, then how expensive is expensive, right? And there are different levels, there are different grades. You know, we work with medium-sized and large businesses, and there are other digital marketing agencies that specialize on startups. What I find is that a lot of business owners are like, no, it's the job of the digital marketer or the IT person. But the truth is that digital marketing without understanding the business strategy is going to fail as well, right? So it's important for you to understand your business strategy, but then also understand what are the different channels that I can use to sort of help my business strategy come to life, right? Because when you don't align your business strategy with your marketing objectives, you're just spending time and money doing things, and you know, it's like treading water. You're in one place, but you haven't really, you feel like you're moving, but you haven't really moved.
You're running on the spot.
Yeah. So I like that you already mentioned strategy, well, business strategy. I think one of the conversations I've had with her as well is when, you know, there was a budget for digital marketing, right? That budget was put out there and it was executed, but it was still a flop, right? And that takes me to the strategy behind digital marketing. Yes, there is there is having a budget and knowing that you need to do it, but I need to speak to having the right strategy for the right job and getting the right people as well. How would you advise, especially those who have the big budget, to ensure that projects are done by the right people, and especially with
an agency? The benefits of an agency is that you are not talking to a single person, right? You're talking to a team. The team has different experiences. They've worked on multiple accounts. They've have many years of experience. They've seen what happens when you do this or you don't do this, right? And that's always a benefit, because you get viewpoints from multiple people, you get the expertise of multiple people, right? And digital marketing is so vast, like you said, right? The person who is doing the graphics is not the same person that is writing the content, is not the same person that is doing the analytics and the reporting, is not the same person that is, you know, updating the website or even developing the website, and it's not the same person that is running the expert for web. You get the expert for you know, digital marketing, you get the expert for social media marketing, for
it's
email
literally
marketing.
what you're paying for. I was going to say that a lot of times I see that because there are common mistakes. A lot of
I can do this.
I can do it myself, you know.
It's not just one
It's
post.
not just one post, you know.
That's what
or they can say, she got a few people. We can call them directly and do that. So what do you think are the biggest mistakes a lot of businesses make when it comes to dealing with agents?
Click it! No, teach me how to click it. I will pay you this money. This money that I've put in my proposal, I will pay you if you teach me the one click, because then I know that I will be set for life. And the man just started laughing because he knew that it's not one click, you know. But that's it, right? You underestimate the actual effort that goes in. I think you also underestimate the actual profession and the years of experience, right? Sign this contract and, you know, take it to court. I am doomed, right? And it's the same thing with digital marketing, right? When we see clients who are like, oh no, we can do that part by ourselves, you know, we're like, okay,
go ahead,
no problem, go ahead, but this is what you should be doing, right? So I think it's, a lot of it is because it's not a profession that has been there for a long time, right? Because you would understand. Exactly, right? So it's easier for me to say, okay, I'm going to pay a lawyer to look at this contract or to write the contract, because I know that lawyers have been there since, you know, day one, pretty much. The same thing when you're feeling bad, you're going to businesses to see the value, and I think this is already happening.
Okay, right? I was going to say that. Sorry, Elsie, I knew you wanted to come in. I want to say that, is this unique? This attitude, is it unique to us here? Or is something that is global? Is a global thing that everybody just feel like I can do it myself and all of that? So it is a global thing.
It's a global thing.
It's not unique to, because you know Nigerians were a special breed.
No, I'll tell you a funny story. I was in a lift in the US going to the airport, and I was talking to the lift driver, and he actually works in an agency and he just drives the lift on the side. So, you know, we're exchanging stories and it was the same. And I'm like, this is crazy, you know, like, and he actually was from somewhere in Eastern Europe, and he had an agency there before he moved to the US, right? So he was like, it's the same there, same in the US. So I'm like, yeah, in Nigeria too.
So it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's not common to us. Okay, I have peace now.
But you have to think about the internet is not that old, right? So it's still a very new, you know, profession. And when you look back, even in the last 5 years, right? 5 years ago, there was no job called chatbot specialist, for example, right? Today there are those jobs, and there are people who specialize in that, right? So I think people are still getting used to the fact that there are all these fancy job titles, and to them it's like, okay, but what are you
really doing? I know that. Okay, let me take this comment. It says the world is changing all over digitally, especially media-wise. When it comes to expand and get your works or what you want to market worldwide, we can't afford to be left behind in Nigeria. I'm proud that the women are not left behind when it comes to creativity. Sure. Well done, ladies. This is from Bobby Kennedy Jalingo, Taraba State. Thank you, Bobby Kennedy. So away from that, I think I wanted to touch on a part you mentioned, which is, I mean, that digital marketing has different profession, like inside that box, right? And one of which you mentioned is content creation, those who write the copies. Yeah. So what is the place of storytelling for content strategy when it comes to digital marketing?
Storytelling is very important, right? Because you need to keep people engaged and entertained, right? So today, in today's world, people have lower attention spans than a goldfish,
so
right?
Annoying.
You know, but I mean, just think about it. You have your phone in front of you, you have your notifications on, then you're like, oh, my friend messaged me, and you're gone from the website that you were trying to research
this, I don't know, service that you actually really need for your business or something, and suddenly you're chatting with your friend, then you see somebody went live on Instagram, you're like, okay, what's that, let me see.
And Elsie did a low challenge. We go and watch it for 1 hour.
Exactly, right? So I think attention spans are, very, very short, but on top of that, it's also the fact that you really have to create content that stands out, right? So if you create content that is poor, whether it's poor picture quality, right, poor video quality, no one is ready to consume poor
because they
content.
don't even have time for that anymore.
Yes, right? So it's like also, if you look at Nollywood movies, right, the movies that we watched in the 90s, if you put that on today, we would all be like, oh my God!
Did I actually stay 1 hour to watch this?
And those movies were not 1 hour; they
no,
were
like 2 hours,
like 3 hours.
How many hours?
Yeah.
But now with all the new producers and directors, right? Our movies are in the cinemas. People are watching them worldwide. They're on Netflix. The production is amazing, and it's the same thing with digital content, right? Digital content has.
You turn on mention them.
You want to play, you want to play with the big boys. You have to be creative, and you have to do something that's going to go viral, and you have to understand what your audience wants to see, right? And I think that makes all the difference, right? When you're producing for your audience and not just because they said we should shoot an ad. So you call Jumoke and Lanre and say, okay, you people jump up and down and then kiss, that's it, right? And then we'll sell our product, right? When you start seeing that, and now because of digital, everything is measurable, right? So you can
literally tell the views, everything,
exactly,
the shares.
The reactions.
Right? You see the reactions, you see the shares, you see everybody, right? But it was because of how, first of all, how it was marketed, and secondly, because obviously the actual content of the series was just like mind-blowing, right? So that is how something goes viral, and that because when Elsie's talking about it, I'm like, what's this thing that she's talking about, right? Then I now see it on somebody else's status, and I'm like, this thing again, what is this, right? And that's how you then...
It was everywhere.
Yes. So there's hardly anyone that you meet that hasn't heard about it. Even if they haven't watched it, they would have heard about it, right? And I think that's really where brands are also going with their, adverts and their commercials, and where they're also trying to pull other brands in, right? So there was something Heinz did, right? So they said, this is a new recipe, Heinz beans and Weetabix, right? And there were so many brands that jumped on it.
Collaborations.
Right? So there were collaborations, but then there were also
people
for your selling product, your retail. I think any content marketing, email marketing.
Go-to person, top of mind awareness and all of that. I was going to say that because, common mistakes when your brand is doing so well, like you feel like at that point you don't need it's an automatic sell, right?
That's a Nigerian problem.
Right? So those brands, because when I heard the pay for 30 seconds at the Super Bowl in America, I said, Jesus Christ, because they understand how powerful it is, and that's why they will pay. Was it $7 million for a 30-second ad? Yeah. They will not pay it in Nigeria. So. And these are brands that it's not like they are not known. They are doing well. The brands are doing well. So what do you say to those brands, right, that your product is great, everybody's buying your product and all of that? What would you say about, them paying attention to still promoting and marketing those products?
Coca-Cola still advertises.
I will.
So if they still advertise, who are you? Time. At some
point, they give you a great offer.
You're going to lose market share, right?
Go ahead.
So I think it's really where we have multiple generations, right? So you have your Gen Zs, you have your millennials, you have Gen X, you have the baby boomers. They all want and think very differently, right?
Yeah.
So even between millennials and Gen Zers, it means that you need to shift with them, right? So it's called cross-generational marketing, where you really need to start thinking about how do you attract the next generation of customers, target segments, and put it on platforms that each of them actually
would
use,
see.
right?
You see,
it's 400 level. Consultancy level.
Yeah.
But I hope you had fun with us.
I did.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Manny. Thank you, Elsie. We had a fantastic conversation. Now, before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements, both online and offline, on social media, everywhere. Now, you see that we bring great people to discuss things. If you were taking notes, I'm sure your business would definitely take a new shape.
Notes
yes,
as well.
your business will definitely take a new shape after this show. All right, so if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Marketing's job is never done. It's about perpetual motion. We continue to innovate every day. I mean, you wrapped it up nicely where you said you have to continue to stay relevant and you have to also find a way to trap in the new generation. You call it cross-generation marketing.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys live on Monday at 8 p.m. You see, I go school. At 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.